Thanks for tuning into the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lives podcast. This is Paul, alongside my co host Brian. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share our thoughts and perspectives on marriage. We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. Today, we're going to talk about the topic all in your feelings, kind of my/our journey of what it's like to be on the other side of processing your feelings and conversations with your wife in your marriage.
Also, don't forget to link up with us on our social medias, searching Marriage is Tougher across Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube if you'd like to see our wonderful faces and reactions to each other saying ridiculous things. You can also hit us up on our website, marriagestougher.com. All of our past episodes are archived there. And if you'd like to be a guest, you can also go to marriagestougher.com, fill out a short form. We'll qualify you as a guest, have a short conversation, and then schedule you to be on the show. We are looking to build this community, so please share the show when you get the opportunity. Actually, you can stop and do it right now. There's a pause button. We'll wait. No. But yeah, if you share the show, we can reach new ears and build this community and, just grow from there. So thank you.
All right. So we are going to talk about all in your feelings. I know this came up kind of in passing in a conversation that we were just having about our growth in communication and just seeing just talking about how each of us are growing with conversations with our wives, the things that we needed to do, they wanted us to do, being able to communicate verbally, and those setbacks that happen. I wouldn't say I've arrived by any means, but I think I now have acknowledged the issue and am working towards, I'm working past my insecurities. So, but I've actually taken steps to express my feelings legit in the middle of a conversation, which is a big step. So we might have another episode in a couple of years of feeling even better about it. But I'm kind of on the high of being able to express my feelings and the conversation not blowing up. So I figured this might be warranted to have a conversation.
Yeah. I like how you put that. Where are they now episode in the future.
Right.
But yeah, man, this is, we are so similar that typically when we bring topic ideas, it's like, oh yeah, I do that too. Or, I can't wait to do that episode because I'm definitely going to learn something. And, for the longest time, like I always say, this is one of my biggest areas I struggled in. And my wife would attest to that as well. But being on this side of it now, again, I'm not completely there. This is, I would say, probably going to be a lifelong journey for me, right? I'm kind of like a non-communication addict. Hello, my name is Brian. I don't like to communicate.
Verbally.
No, that is changing. That has changed. And I am excited about that. I'm excited to want to talk to my wife more. I'm excited that I have that desire. And I'm excited for what it has done for our relationship in the short time that I've been communicating better. There's been huge advancements. You may have heard me mention, on our last vacation together, we had the best time that we've ever had because we had, our conversations about what our expectations were, what needed to be done before we left. We were on time for everything, if not early. By the time we got there, we knew what we wanted to do, where we wanted to eat, and, just all of those decisions that typically take away not only time, but, just the flow of, our time that we're trying to spend together. It was just so much easier, so much better. And we came home wanting to just brag about the time that we had together.
Yeah, I mean, it's just even that example there was a lot of work put into that vacation, right? Kind of like what it is in our marriages. Like you put in the time to prep and to figure out what you wanted, what your expectations were, talk about those, and then you had an amazing experience. Same thing with our communication. Like we have to um, grow. Like, how are we going to have this conversation? What's the, if you remember what Brian said in the last episode, what is the rules of engagements when we're talking about topics? You have to practice, right? You had many years of going through what you didn't want to be able to see what you did want, right? So,
Yeah.
growing from our shortcomings or our failures or missing the mark of where we wanted to be and being okay with that. Um, I think the taking it back to the feelings point, like I had no, or I wouldn't say I didn't have any barometer or like example of feelings, but no one like coached me how to feel in conversation, right? There's no like, you'll feel this and it's okay, right? The world's not going to end. You may feel hot. You may feel something down your back. You may just want to run away, and that's okay. But you still have to stay in this conversation. Like that didn't come until I was in my 40s, right? Like it's just so wild. So I'm trying to be a changer of that with all of my young male friends, like talking through things. And I know it's probably not a normal thing, and maybe my friends and people get tired of talking to me, but I'm trying to have everyone level up in their marriage because it's so important. Like when this happened for me and I realized that I could feel everything, talk about it, and I didn't champion my wife's heart in the moment, but it wasn't disrespectful by any means, but it was so different. Like it shifted our marriage. And like, what is this going to be like when you actually talk through your emotions? Because for nearly 15 years, I've never confidently talked through them. But this time I was confident in it. So it was a game changer.
Yeah. It, ah, Monumental shift in our marriage, right? Like there's so little tension about anything anymore. And I don't know, for those out there who are still going through it, if you could realize what that actually means, right? Like there were times where I'd walk in the door and there was a topic at hand that we needed to talk about but hadn't talked about. And just that instant tension of coming home from work and seeing your wife's face and she's like, it's about to go down because she can't wait anymore, right? And I'm like, oh no. Oh man, like that's not there anymore. And I'm not saying that it won't resurface, that we won't still have areas we need to work through. It's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is when that happens, I'm so much better prepared to have those conversations, the difficult conversations, that like bring them. You know what I mean? Like let's just
Mm-hmm.
get past it. And which is the funniest thing, because for the longest time, like that's all she wanted is to not have things escalate and just get past it, just get through it. And because I didn't know how, I would just, you know, be playing tug of war with her. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep this thing in the closet. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Right. I mean, it's when you can process and express your feelings, there is the tension is like the tension goes away, right? The tension is the anxiety of like having to go through your feelings or the tension of not talking. It's just bottled up. Like tension is your bottled up emotions. Like so you're walking in like, oh, I gotta process this, but I don't want to. Like you're fighting it. But if you just start talking and being able to, well, not it's not just talking. It's being okay with, or being confident. For me, I'll say for me, it was being confident that I could say what I wanted in a respectful way and not shut down,
Mm.
right? Knowing that I wasn't going to shut her down or hurt her feelings and shut myself down. So it's really just leaning back in or fighting through the uncomfortability of acknowledging that your emotions exist, but now have to talk about how you feel about those emotions. And I didn't always have language for what my emotions were or how I felt. So that would be, if I don't have something, I'm just not going to do it or try to figure it out. Um, so it takes some stumbling on the way and really evaluating that I actually feel this. So I think for me, I didn't even like that I felt it.
Yeah, yeah, and we've talked about that before, right? As men, we feel like, oh, I shouldn't be upset about this. Like, why is this getting to me so much? And not only why is this getting to me so much, but now that it's here, I don't know how to process it, right? And like that adds a whole nother dynamic to the situation. But I don't want to just walk over what you said about not having the language, because that was key for me as well. My, or our marriage counselor gave us this list of feeling words. And I think I've brought this up before, but it is beneficial to say again for any new listeners. Google a list of feeling words, either good or bad, and compare that to how you typically communicate when someone asks you, how does that feel? Right? You're going to find that good is not on that list, more than likely. But we lean so heavily to just saying, oh, this is good, that's fine, right? And that's not communicating to your partner what's actually going on. Um, I'll ask you this: what are some of your favorite feeling words you've learned to use that help you get through these these areas where you've needed to communicate your feelings?
Man, that's such a good question. Um, I think it's a lot of dis words. Like I feel like disheartened, or um, I feel, or miss words. Like if it's night, I feel um, misinterpreted. Like if someone is saying that if we're talking about just feelings in general or situations in general, like, man, like, or like I miscommunicated that, or they just don't understand, or I wasn't clear, or, but the feeling is like, yeah, it's sad, or uncomfortable, um, or like I'm really grieving this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I've kind of been on grief for a little bit, just feeling like it's okay to be unhappy or sad or frustrated. I'm frustrated is something that I'll say. Like, I'm not angry, I'm just frustrated, or I'm disappointed in how this is working out. Um, so I think those are kind of some words for like if something feels not good,
I got you.
are kind of the
Well,
words that I'm using.
so this is going to be a little bit of a plug for BetterHelp, but that's you know what we found is best for our schedule. Doing our therapy sessions virtually, and so what I'm going through now is kind of like our account slash chat sessions with the therapist, um, because what she typically does for us is give us like worksheets or websites to go to. um, she basically gives us homework. But what I'll do, because I've just pulled it up, is run through some of the feeling words that she's given us, and it's going to be subcategories to how you might be feeling in anger, anxiety, happiness, jealousy, love, sadness. All right. So what I'll do is just kind of read the top three for each of those categories. All right. So when you're feeling anger, some of the words you should use are annoyed, um, aggression, raising voice or yelling. Or so those are some, I guess, the activities. Sorry. The words would be annoyed, enraged, frustrated. When you're feeling anxious, some of the words you could use are dread, fear, nervous, scared, stressed. In times of happiness, you can use the words cheerful, content, excited, glad. In an area of jealousy, you could use bitter, contempt, envious, spiteful. If you're feeling love, use the words affection, attachment, closeness, compassion, desire. And then for the last category of sadness, use the words depressed, despair, disappointment, down, grief, emptiness. Um, so just wanted to share that with you guys. And so those were the related words for the emotion. What I had initially started to read off were some of the signs and behaviors that you might be feeling those things, which also might be beneficial. Paul, do you think I should read through a couple of those as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, in anger, some of the signs and behaviors that might help you realize this is what I'm feeling, then to use those words to express how you're feeling. So, signs and behaviors of anger are aggression, arguing, blaming, staring, which is something I like to use. When you're feeling anxious, signs and behaviors are avoidance. If you start pacing, actually, headache is on the list, crying, if you're tapping your foot, trembling, muscle tension, which is a huge one for me. I get very tense when I get anxious. I think in the on the podcast, you've heard me say a lot of times, I just kind of lock up, and that's part of it. I lock up mentally, and I lock up in like physically. In happiness, some of the signs and behaviors: creative thinking, laughing, you become more active, you feel sociable, you might feel helpful, you might want to help others, and you have an increase in energy. In jealousy, you've got acting possessive, you might be frustrated, feel insecure, have feelings of distrust, might have some negative thoughts. If you're making threats, that might be a sign that you're feeling jealous. In love, caring for another person, kindness, physical affection, selflessness, empathy are all signs that you're feeling love. And then last, in sadness, apathy, crying, rumination, fatigue, inactivity, sluggishness, social isolation. And there's more to those lists, but I'll leave that for the listeners to kind of look up on their own. I just want to give some quick examples of that. Because in session, what we did for the areas that I very much struggled to communicate in, I would just pull up this list as I was trying to talk, and just started using the words. And obviously, once you start to practice to use those words in these areas when you're trying to express yourself, then you have them in your bank, and you can go back to them as you need. It's just a good tool.
Yeah, I mean, I liken it to when you're describing someone to someone else that, may have seen someone, like if you're in a social setting or trying to remind someone of like, hey, do you know Brian? And you're like, well, who's Brian? You just say, oh, a guy, right? Like, you remember he was there, that guy that was there. Like, then it's like describing words, right? So we, tall, loud, short, whatever, hair, bald, no bald, facial hair, no facial hair, skin color, those type of things, like they all go deeper, right? But I think a lot of times we as guys, we stick to, oh, it's, Brian, my friend Brian, right? The guy that was there. Like we don't go into details of height or facial hair or eye color or skin tone, and all those things are very specific to Brian, which is very, and I'm saying it's very specific to your feeling. And that helps express and helps communicate. First, it helps you express to yourself, and you can confirm that that is exactly what you are feeling. And then you can start to operate from that place. Um, how do you need to communicate it? What do you need to get through it? What do you need to sit in it? Right? I think a lot of times I've realized that it's okay to just be whatever you're feeling, but still communicate in a respectful way. And it's okay to still be disappointed, but your disappointment's not going to necessarily go away in that moment of conversation. But to express that to your wife when she asks you how you feel is very important, because your feeling is still going to be there. You just have to talk about what it is instead of her either guessing or you acting like it's not real. Um, that's a big part of it, is to step up, take the challenge of, I'm going to express what it is, even if I don't like it, even if I don't want it to be happening, um, even if I'm not sure what to do with it. At least I can say, man, I'm disappointed that I expected us to be at dinner at 6 and it's now 7.
Yeah.
Right? That's a tangible example, right? Because I can get real tight about being an hour late for dinner, right? Especially if I'm hungry. And then you can use the why statements of why, like, I expect this to be there. And so I hadn't eaten since 4 because I thought we were going to eat at 6, but it's now 7. I'm really hungry. So I'm really disappointed and I'm hungry. And whatever else is going on. But using an example like that is just say, I'm disappointed. Don't say, I'm fine, or don't say I'm good, or it's fine. No, just say I'm disappointed. And I had expectations and they weren't met. And I realized a lot of times for me, it's I had expectations that I didn't communicate. And that led to me feeling a certain way. But if I would just have communicated, we could have either agreed to those expectations or not. And then it wouldn't be expectations. It would be, kind of what we agreed. It's an agreement now.
Mm.
So now if we're both striving for that same thing, it generally happens within our marriage, which also leads to less issues of things.
Yeah. I got a question for you to see just how this strikes you. This is something that I've used. I want to say I don't know that it's appropriate for every situation, which I just know is not appropriate for every situation. But because of how my mind works, it has made it easier for me to enter these conversations with my wife when I take on a mindset of solution, right? There are times where she's very much just, in her feelings about something, which I understand. Um, and at times where her feelings and the words she's using trigger me, if I switch over to a solution mindset, right? Not just like, how can I get her to stop talking, but like, how can I solve the problem that she's bringing to me? Um, I initially had become less reactive. And that's when I learned to like kind of calm myself, not raise my voice, because I was, not, I don't, I guess, not excluding her from the process, but that's not what I'm trying to say. Not like discounting how she was feeling in the moment, but if I saw we weren't making progress, like, why are we actually having this conversation? Is, I guess, kind of where I started to go. Right, we're having
Mm-hmm.
this conversation because we need a solution to this problem, and maybe I caused the problem, and maybe that's something that I need to apologize for. You know, let her know that, you know, these are the steps I'm going to take to start working on it, right? Make her kind of come down from her elevated emotions by, I guess, letting her know that I am considering her by, you know, giving her some steps to come to a resolution.
No, I mean, I think that's good because you're acknowledging that. I think the first part of even getting to that solution and communicating that is letting your wife know that you see that what she's saying is real,
Hmm.
right? Because a lot of times we as husbands will just discount that that's real, like the issue, and kind of see that she's on the high or like her emotions are really feeling what it is, and we let that discount the actual thing that needs solved. Like we're so focused on, oh my gosh, like emotions run away. Like how do we shut this down? Like how do we get it to stop? How do we turn this thing off? Right?
Uh-huh.
But but what you were saying in essence is I show her that I see that there is an issue, and then I'm trying to help get to the solution of said issue. No matter how she's emoting that, like I want to validate that it's real, and then validate and let her know that I'm here to help. And I think that is a very um, that's a good way to handle that situation,
For sure.
because we all want to be seen and heard and not feel like we're crazy or the only one going through it, especially in marriage. Like you don't want to feel like you're the only one. And when we as husbands don't communicate, a lot of times our wives are left to guess. Am I the one feeling this? Is it just me? Is it? And no, but like when we can just say, oh, that's a thing. Now let's attack that together and get past it together. That's all she wants is to come alongside you. So how we do that is by saying, "Oh man, like I felt kind of disappointed too, or that kind of rubbed me the way as well." And let's see how we can move forward,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that definitely sucked. Like I can't believe that happened. Like next time, how could we blah blah blah? Um, or sometimes like, do you just need a hug? Like I see you, that sucked. Like, do you need a hug? Do you want to hug it out?
I'm bad at that. I'm
Especially
bad
when
at
it's
that.
especially when it's not things that you've done, right? Like
Yeah.
hugs are
Still, I'm bad at that.
so what'd you say?
I said, still, I'm bad at that.
Yeah, like
Right.
when it's not you, if it's the kids, if it's, you know, traffic, if it's, not getting enough done during the day, if it's so whatever, like it's I I I think I should, and I'm not as good as I want to be, but I should definitely start. That should be like one or two, like especially if physical touch is a thing for your wife, like
Mhm.
just go in for a hug and then just affirm whatever she said to you, or if you feel any type of way about it, express that feeling alongside of her in that hugging space, and I bet you can just feel just the tension release at least at some level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I always do. Um, I guess what I'm thinking of is I want to get to the space where I walk into that situation, realize that's what her need is without her having to verbalize it, and then deliver on it. Right. Um, because I think as humans, we don't always, when we're feeling some type of way, want to have to verbalize it.
Hmm.
But if your partner really knows you and can see, like, all right, she's frustrated, could probably, you know, use, or probably needs me to help relieve some tension or some stress or whatever. Um, and I think I do that to some extent. I'll walk up behind her and, kind of rub her shoulders or hug her from behind, kiss her on the neck, that sort of thing. Um, you know, Especially if I have been gone for a while. It's kind of like a, hey, I'm here now. I'm here to help, whatever you need, and without saying as much, but it's kind of becoming the expectation that that's what I mean when I do those things.
Man, I just realized like I go to the let me help in whatever area that is without doing the hey, I'm here now part. Like that's why I need to give the hug, give the attention in the moment, like here, like I'm here now.
Mhm.
Now what do you need instead of just, oh, example, come in, let me start picking up the house or doing the dishes or whatever. No, like let my presence literally be felt
Right.
and then see be felt in a different way by helping out. That just helped me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'm
for that.
glad. I'm glad, man. Because it could be perceived that you could be doing those things out of frustration. And the reason I say that is because I know I've done that before,
Hmm.
actually. Right.
Right.
Like she's just making that face like, you need to pitch in. Right. And just go moving stuff faster than I need
Hmm.
to. And, harder than I need to. And, and I think that allows us to get, I guess, more quickly into that mentality of I'm here now, I'm here to help, right? So it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I know we kind of tangented off this episode title, but it definitely, I think, does reflect on processing and expressing your feelings. And if your wife isn't a physical touch person, whatever that is, to let her know that you're there, um, you know, kind of figure that out. And I think that'll help. But again, first you have to be okay to realize that you feel as well. Um, and you're alongside her and being able to express that to her verbally is it's a good space to be at. So keep working to get there. Anything
Yes,
else?
sure. No, that's it, man. I guess I'll wrap this up here. We are well over time, but that's okay. I think we added a lot of value. So we would like to take this opportunity to invite you to link up with us on our social medias. Searching Marriage is Tougher, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. If you'd like to be a guest, go over to marriageistuffer.com, fill out a short form, and we will get you on the show. You will also find that all of our past episodes are archived there. We believe in listening and re-listening to just learn more and learn more quickly. If you would like to suggest a topic idea or have a conversation or start a conversation about any of the sorry about that, episodes that we have had, do that over on Instagram and we will reply to you there. And we're just asking you to be a part of the community. Make sure you share any episodes that you really liked or think that someone could get some benefit out of. That really helps us get the podcast out there and reach the people that need to hear us. So, with that being said, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Peace.